بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وبه نستعين على أمور الدنيا والدين وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد خاتم النبيين وآله وصحبه أجمعين ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. Today is the first of Shahr al-Muharram, right? Which makes today the first day of the new Muslim year. What year is it?
Today, the year is 1441.
MashaAllah, 1441. So very important things we should understand about both of those. About the month of Muharram, number one. And also how the Hijrah calendar started. Right? Important historical facts. Number one, in Islam, during the life of the Prophet ﷺ, there was no calendar. There was no calendar per se of what year it is based on. The calendar that was was being utilized was not rather, but was an un-Islamic calendar. It wasn't, official Islamic calendar that was in place until the Khilafah of Umar radiallahu anhu. So Umar radiallahu anhu, how are we going to mark our dates and our official days in accordance to us? We don't want to utilize the timing or the calendar of the kuffar. That's a very important concept to understand, right? That Umar radiallahu anhu, al-Faruq, understood that calendars were being utilized by people that were not in accordance to Islam. We shouldn't utilize their calendars to mark our dates and our official events, right? Or occurrences. So Umar, he made sure with the Sahaba, said, how can we base or start our calendar off of? They didn't start it from the birthday of the Prophet ﷺ, right? They didn't start it from the birthday of any important person during the life of the Prophet ﷺ. But they started it, and this is what we learned something in Islam. They started it by one of the greatest events in Islamic history. They started or began their calendar to be based off of one of the greatest events that occurred in Islamic history, which was what? The Hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ from Mecca to Medina. Very important to understand, right? What made the Hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ so great in Islamic history? What was it that made his Hijrah such a great event? It's a question.
I think it's when moved to Medina to teach Kalima La ilaha illallah.
He was teaching Kalima La ilaha illallah before he went to Medina. The Prophet ﷺ was sent as a messenger during the time of Mecca, right? And he called to Tawheed in Mecca for 13 years prior to even going to Medina. So what made it so great was that when the Prophet ﷺ moved to Medina, he became not just a prophet and a messenger, but he also became a statesman, became a head of state. They had their own government now, the Muslims. They were autonomous in the region. This gave the da'wah of the Prophet ﷺ a different taste. Now we're dealing with not just Muslims living in a Kafir society, but Muslims being the head of their own society. Now the rules are going to be changed a little bit. There's going to be different legislation. Majority of the legislation in Islam, majority of the rules of conduct or rules of, came in Medina. When the companions were living in the Kafir society of Mecca, they had to focus on keeping their Eemaan high up. So a lot of the issues that were discussed then were just how to keep Eemaan, Tawheed. The Salat was revealed, but most of it was about Eemaan and Tawheed, Yawm al-Qiyamah, the Akhirah. In Medina, Surah Al-Baqarah is revealed now. dealing with society, right? So we see there's a change of the revelation during the time of Medina, from the times of Medina to Mecca. So Umar radiallahu anhu, he was wise enough, alhamdulillah, after making sure with the companions, to know that they should make or start their calendar based upon the hijrah of the Prophet ﷺ. That's when the government, in reality, the real government of the Muslims began. The government of the Muslims began when the Prophet ﷺ migrated to Medina. And they started their calendar from there. Now it's important for us to understand what? The calendar of the Muslims is based upon what? Solar or lunar? Moon or sun? The moon. Now, what is the problem with us utilizing the calendar of the kuffar? And we have to call it as such, the calendar of the kuffar. This is an aqidah issue. People don't realize it's an aqidah issue. This is a question. Excuse me, I have one question too. Hamdi, you have my ashar? You have your ashar ready? Tayyib, alhamdulillah. The rest of the Abdul Walis too? Or is it just you? Okay, good. Why is it an aqidah issue? Turn this way. Wait, before I just remembered, yeah, fix yourselves up. You guys are on the wall. Same thing goes for you guys. Fix yourselves up. Hamdi, the rest of your crew. Why is this an aqidah issue? If I don't know you're here, there's a problem. Why is this an aqidah issue? I'm asking a question. Some of you know this answer. We've talked about this more than once before. It's not a new thing we've dealt with. Why is utilizing the Kafir calendar an aqidah issue?
I think it's because in the Muslim calendar and the Kuffar calendar is different because our Muslim, we follow like based on our Muslim our Muslim tradition, but in Kuffar calendar, they follow like their junior stuff. I don't know.
No, it's not it. Somebody answer to me. Why is it a problem us following the Kafir calendar? What does Allah say in the Quran? Inna iddat ash-shuhuri inda Allahi ithnata ashar, right? Allah says what? That the months with Allah are 12. With Allah, correct? So who is in accordance to the months that are with Allah? Us or them? Us, right? So if we don't base our calendar based on what Allah created the heavens and the earth to be in accordance to, then there's something wrong with our aqidah, how we believe in Allah. Allah said He created the heavens and the earth, and He made the months to be 12. Allah didn't make January, February, March, April. He didn't, right? So I remember when I was in Ethiopia, just giving you a point. When I was in Ethiopia, I didn't I was confused for like the first couple of days because, you know, I knew it to be, you know, in accordance to Americans' calendar, to be like the 4th or whatever it might have been. And everyone kept saying it's the 15th. I said, man, even an Islamic calendar is not the 15th. What calendar are they going by? Even they have their own calendar. They don't utilize the Western calendar. They don't utilize the Hijri calendar. They utilize their own calendar. And they go by that, and they live by that. That's with them. So it becomes problematic for the Muslims that we utilize everyone else's calendar and are not aware of ours. If you ask most people, can you name the 12 Islamic months? Can anyone name the 12 Islamic months?
Muharram, Safar, Rabi' al-Awwal, Rabi' al-Thani, Jumada al-Ul, Jumada al-Akhir, Rajab, Sha'ban, Ramadan, Shawwal, Dhul-Qa'dah, Dhul-Hijjah.
How many was that? That was 12? You were counting? I wasn't. It was 12?
Yeah.
Tight. Can anyone else do it?
محرم صفر ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جمادى الأولى.
How about this, right? Take 5 minutes, everyone memorize the Islamic months. We're not leaving it until everyone can read this, say what the Islamic months are. It's important. I don't care if you got to Google it, figure it out, sit in circles, memorize the Islamic months. Take 5 minutes. You have 5 minutes. It doesn't take long. Make a song out of it if you need to. Do whatever you got to do, but memorize it. Why are you still sitting there? Do you know them? Go ahead, bismillah. Help them, help them, help them. Help them. Go. If you don't know it, what are you sitting there for? You have 5 minutes to memorize. I think there is a song for it. I have a trick question to ask you all too. See if you can figure out which 4 of them are holy months.
Holy month. محرم رجب ذو القعدة ذو الحجة.
That's a question for you all too. What 4 of them are holy months? Come on, memorize. You guys better have it memorized. I'm not talking to nobody I can't see. Can you what? It's unknown. The person is majhul. If I can't see you, that means you're majhul. Unknown. There's 2 types of majhul in the science of hadith. Majhul al-ayn and majhul al-hal. Majhul al-hal, that's one thing. What was the question? What was the question? What was the question? Good.
Can we do it on paper and pen?
No, what do you mean a paper pen? Use your memory. Work on your memory. Hey, matter of fact, put your phones down. Work on your memory. Work together. Listen, learn to work together. Ta'awun ala al-birri wa taqwa. Put their phones down and struggle with your memories. Put your phones down and struggle with your memories. Make your memories work. Make your what? Memories work.
رجب شعبان رمضان شوال ذو القعدة محرم صفر ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جمادى الأول رجب شعبان رمضان شوال ذو القعدة ذو الحجة.
Whoever misses a month, they're going to have a big problem. There's 12 months in a year. Make sure you know them strong. If you miss a month, you have a problem. You can't have an 11th month year. There's no such thing as an 11-month or 10-month year.
القعدة الحج. You got it?
What is the second one?
Safar.
What?
محرم
محرم صفر
ربيع
ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جماد الأول جماد الآخر
رجب
رجب شعبان رمضان
شوال شوال
شوال
ذو القعدة
ذي القعدة
ذو الحج. محرم
صفر ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جماد الأول جماد الثاني
رجب شعبان
رمضان
شوال ذو القعدة ذو الحجة. محرم صفر ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جماد الأولى جماد الآخر رجب شعبان رمضان شوال ذو القعدة ذو الحجة.
Is 5 minutes up?
No. 5 more minutes.
2 more minutes.
3 more minutes. I need 3 minutes.
Put the phones down. Work your memories. Work your memories and work with each other. Put the phones down.
Or you can say جماد الأول جماد الثاني وجماد الآخر. رجب شعبان رمضان شوال ذو القعدة ذو الحجة. محرم صفر ربيع الأول
الأول الثاني جماد الأول جماد الثاني حجة
رجب
شعبان رمضان شوال الحجة.
محرم صفر
Okay, time's up. Hamdi,
That
go.
was not 2 minutes.
Jamad what? Excellent. Go ahead. Yes, you. Ramadan? Come on. You skipped. How did you get to Rajab before Jamad al-Awwal? Rajab? She can't help you. This is without help. Do it again. Further, go ahead. ها؟ ذو القعدة. فواز تفضلي. منى. No. You skipped something. Yeah, that's just a matter of after and jump to Sha'ban, right? What's after Jamal Akhir? Rajab? What's after Ramadan? Do it again. It's important. Again. Do it again. Every time Henry helps you, I'm going to tell you to do it again. So tell her to be quiet. Tell him to be quiet. Okay, do it again. It's okay. No, from the beginning. Muharram. Huh? It's out of order. Do it again. No, Muharram. Start with Muharram. جزاكم الله خير نوري. ذو القعدة and ذو الحجة. Go ahead. Who's else left? Ruwaida, go ahead. Bismillah. No, you can't cheat Ruwaida. No, don't help her. Ruwaida, do you know the regular months of the year? What month is this, Ruwaida? Don't answer for her. What month is this? What month is next? Good. Tell me the Islamic months. The real months. Come on, Ruwaida. Ruwaida, I expect you to know it by tomorrow. Ruwaida, come here. Sit here. Sit here, Ruwaida. Tomorrow I expect you to know it. Go ahead, Fawaz. You're still what? It's not my problem. It sounds like your problem. Muharram. Safar.
ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جماد الأول جماد الآخر رجب شعبان رمضان شوال
ذو القعدة. ذو الحجة. Go ahead, Bismillah.
What is the first one?
What month is it right now? Okay.
No, not شعبان ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جماد الأول جماد الآخر شعبان.
You skipped something. Before Sha'ban, there's something else. Rajab.
شعبان رمضان
شوال.
القعدة
ذو القعدة. ذو الحجة. Go ahead.
محرم صفر ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جماد الأولى جماد الآخر رجب شعبان رمضان شوال ذو القعدة ذو الحجة.
Go ahead.
محرم صفر ربيع الأول ربيع الثاني جماد الأول جماد الآخر رجب شعبان رمضان شوال ذي القعدة and ذي الحج. ذي الحج.
طيب. So now we know there's 12 months of the year, right? I said I asked you earlier, how many of those months are holy months? How many of those months are holy months, and which months are there?
4.
Alaykum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Which are the holy months?
Rajab.
No, let the girls in, because the boys should know that. What are the holy months, the 4 holy months? No. Rajab, Dhul Qa'dah, Dhul Hijjah, and Muharram. There are 3 months that fighting is not supposed to take place in. Right? Does anybody know what month Battle of Badr happened in? Ramadan, right? MashaAllah, barakallah. What day of Ramadan? 16th, 17th, yeah, close. 16th, 17th of Ramadan. Anyway, so the point of me mentioning this is that today being the first of what? Muharram. It's a new year for us, right? Now, what happens in a new year in Islam? Do we make, you like the kuffar, do we make these new year, what do they call them? Resolutions?
Yeah.
Most of them are lies, right? I'm going to stop eating ice cream for this year. I'm going to go on a diet. And then the next day, you know these New Year's resolutions, what they do psychologically? If you make a resolution, right, to do something, and you don't accomplish it, it takes away from your self-worth. Do you understand? You say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then when you don't, especially if you tell people, right? You say, listen, Fawaz, man, I'm going to shoot 1,000 jump shots every day for this year. And then they said, man, what happened to you shooting 1,000 jumps? And you said, oh, man, I forgot about that. It takes away from what you see about yourself, right? So do we do this type of stuff? No. If you want to make a resolution to do something, you make it with yourself. You don't have to tell nobody, say, man, I'm going to try my best to do this. That way, if you don't accomplish it, between you and Allah, you try it again. And you try it again until you accomplish it. But don't broadcast it on TV, post it on Facebook. And everyone said, you said you were going to lose weight this year. And they see you and you gained weight. Say, man, what happened to you? You know, you're just talking. So, what should we think about this year, though? New Year, what should we think? Huh? Munira? What should we think? What should be in your mind? What should be in your mind? New Year. Whatever happens will happen? No. We do want a fresh start. We do want to try to do something different, right? We do want to count it as, subhanAllah, Allah gave me another year of my life, right? That I finished a year by the permission of Allah. What did I do last year? It's a good way to count, months. We should do this every day, actually. We should do this every day, every month, every year. Look at what we did last year. What did you do? What did you accomplish? I want to make this year better. I don't want to go into this new year committing sin and being just as disobedient to Allah. I want to be better, right? I want to count that Allah gave, this is a favor from Allah to be able to see another year, right? That I finished a year. But it's nothing special. We don't party on it. We don't have a first of Muharram party, right? No such thing in Islam as the first of Muharram party. New Year's. No, we don't have that in reality in Islam. Oh, it's New Year's, let's have a New Year's party. No. It wasn't known from the Salaf that on the first of Muharram that they used to go around saying Happy New Year's to each other. Does anybody know of any time that you heard the Salaf go around saying Happy New Year's to each other on the first of Muharram? Do you know of anything like that? Inform me if you do. So no, it's not. But one thing we do know about the month of Muharram is the Prophet ﷺ was known to fast the month of Muharram more than he fasted any other month. It doesn't mean that he fasted the whole month, but he will fast more during the month of Muharram. Do you understand that? So if we want to do anything, we should do what during this month? Fast more during the month of Muharram. Specifically, there are 2 days that we should try to fast without failing. What are those 2 days? No. I'm talking about Muharram. Monday and Thursday you should do all the time. What 2 days during this month should you try to fast? And what else? Tasu'ah, right? The 9th and 10th of the month of Muharram. What's special about the 9th of Muharram? Somebody tell me. What's special about the 9th of Muharram? Don't check your phones. Mashallah, I passed the trick question. It was a trick question. I was waiting for somebody to make up something. All right? As people normally do, right, Sheikh Shahid? If you ask them a question, they just want to guess and they'll throw out anything. Oh, that's the day Musa was. No, it's not. What day was Musa freed from Fir'aun? The 10th. The 10th. Right? So the 10th of Muharram was something well known amongst the people, even before Islam. Even before Islam, people used to fast on the 10th of Muharram. Right? So much so that when the Prophet ﷺ came to Medina, he found the people fasting. He said, what are you guys fasting? We were fasting the 10th of Muharram. Why? What is this to you? That's the day that Musa was freed from Fir'aun. The Prophet said, we have more right to Musa than you. And he told the Muslims to fast. But then he also said later on that if we make it to the next month, the next year, that we're going to also fast the 9th of it. Why? The Prophet ﷺ always used to try to make it his duty to what? Be different from the kuffar. He didn't want to just fast the 10th of Muharram, right? And the Jews were doing it too. He wanted to be different. So there's a few benefits that I want to take from these 3 principles, right? A few things that we can take from it. The first thing that we want to take from is what? The Prophet ﷺ, from the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, when he first came to Medina, he used to try to, when he first came to Medina, pay attention. Because people miss up these 2 situations. When he first came to Medina, he used to try to coincide, meaning, yuwafiq, or wafiq al-Yahud. He would try to do things in agreement with the Yahud, right? So that it wouldn't run them away. Do we understand? But once he realized and it started to come down to the Jews, regardless of what you try to do with them, they're not going to come into Islam, they're hardy or whatever, then he started to oppose them and everything. So much so that the Jews said that he would oppose them in everything. This man didn't come except that he tried to be different from us in everything that we do. Right? So the Jews have some weird beliefs, especially in how they treated women. There's another benefit that we learned, that Islam came to honor the women. People that try to say, oh, the Muslim, no. It was the Jews. And they still do it, right? So much so that the woman, during the time of the Jews, if the woman had her haid, she wasn't allowed to be in the same room as the other people. She couldn't even eat at the table with everybody, right? But you don't hear anybody screaming about the Jews. Why? Because it's propaganda against Islam. It's not the truth. The Jewish people wouldn't even allow the woman to eat from the same utensils, right? She had to have a special spoon when she was during that time. She couldn't even eat with the people. Don't put your hand over here. Like her whole body was dirty or something. This is how they treated the women. And the Prophet ﷺ came and eradicated it. That's not true. That's not what it is. So anyway, the Prophet ﷺ would try to make it his job to be different from them and whatever they would do, to show and distinguish Islam from them. Right? Now, us here in a non-Muslim country, right, we are in a similar situation to what the Prophet ﷺ was in. Right? That he was amongst non-Muslim Jews. And he lived with them. He traded with them. He did business with them. But at the same time, he made sure he was different from them. He made sure that he showed different behavior, different dress, different attitude, different belief than them. We are not the same. We have to get it out of our head that just because we live with them, even though we have to be nice to them, we're not the same as them. And we shouldn't try to be the same as them. We shouldn't try to look, talk, walk like them. That wasn't the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. To imitate the Jews, to imitate the Christians. It wasn't his way. So much so the ulama that bring a qa'id in the deen, they say مُخَالَفَةُ الْخُفَّارِ مَشْرُوع. That opposing or being different from the kuffar, that's legislative, meaning it's rewardable. Every time you do something with the intent to be different from the kuffar, it's a way to get reward from Allah. Do we understand that? So we should try our best to be different, be distinguished, right? That when we see each other, we should know that that's a Muslim. When we hear each other talk, we shouldn't talk and sound like the kuffar. That our words are the same as their words. That we talk that nasty language that they talk, right? You know, sometimes, and there's a thing that we have to realize. There's a difference between talking language that's not formal, right? Unformal language, right? Where you're with your friends, you're talking language that's not formal. You don't have to always speak formal language, but it doesn't mean you speak the worst of language also. right? That we see some of the Muslims now, they've adopted some of the worst language. They say the N word, the B word, the A word, the G word, the K word, everything. And you say, man, is this Muslim or Kafir? When they talk to each other, it becomes so normal. SubhanAllah, we see the girls call each other by the worst of names. And they want to say that they have haya. And they want to say that they're Muslims. And they want to say that, they deserve, this or that. When you allow yourself, when you talk to each other with calling each other the worst of names that have the worst of meanings. Why? Because they're imitating the kuffar. Call each other these filthy names. May Allah protect us. The boys call each other filthy names. And they laugh and joke about it like it's okay. Allah says that we don't call each other by bad names. Right? And the people, they run and they do it all day long. Hey! 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 And it becomes public. And it becomes like no shame. There's no shame amongst the Muslims anymore what they do and say. That was not our deen. That's not our deen. That's not how Islam is. That's not how Islam is. So anyway, the Prophet ﷺ, he commanded his companions to fast on the 10th of Ashura. And he said the 10th of Ashura is forgiveness for what? Forgiveness for what? The year before. Who from amongst us can afford to miss that? Anyone here didn't have any sins that they want to get forgiven for last year? Something they said out their tongue? Something they touched they shouldn't have, or looked at they shouldn't have, or listened to they shouldn't have? None of us can afford to miss fasting the day of Ashura. Do we understand that? There should not be a wet tongue amongst the Muslims on that day. You understand? There should not be a filled belly amongst the Muslims on that day. It's a day that Allah will allow for us, inshallah, to get our last year's sins forgiven. Now, on top of that, so that we are different from the Jews and the Christians, we should also fast the 9th. We should also fast the 9th. Is it acceptable if you forget to fast the 9th, but you fast the 10th? Will it count? Now, if you miss it, you should try to fast the 11th. Saheeh Sheikh Saheeh?
No, sir.
Tell you. If you miss it, you should try to fast the 11th. What if you forget the 11th too? The 12th? Now we're just making up stuff. The point is this: if you miss those two and you make the 10th is acceptable. But you should try to fast the 9th with it. Do you understand? You should make it your business to fast the 9th with the 10th. They go together, hand in hand together. That's what's best and what should be done. Do you understand? Tayyib, what happened on this 10th that's so important even to us as Muslims? And what can we do to reflect upon that? What happened? What happened on the 10th of Muharram? Nobody knows? On the 10th of Muharram is the day that Musa ﷺ escaped from Fir'aun. It was the day that Fir'aun was drowned and his army was destroyed. Right? There's a huge benefit that we take from that and remember from that. From the story of Musa, there's so many benefits. Right? Even to the extent, again, that we see that Musa has mentioned in the Quran more than anybody else almost. Right? That his story has so many benefits. From amongst the benefits that we take from Musa escaping Fir'aun, does anybody know how Musa escaped from Fir'aun? Huh? What did you say? Does anybody know how Musa escaped from Fir'aun? Allah split the sea so he could cross it. You sure? Allah split the sea. I'm asking them, if you're sure, say you're sure. No. Allah didn't split the sea. Allah, mind you, right? Allah is greater than we can imagine. Remember we talk about Allah, right? Who was here for yesterday khutbah? You guys here for khutbah yesterday? All right. Tell me something about Allah. We have to look at these things and realize that Allah is greater than what we think. Right? Allah does things in the most amazing way. Doesn't do it like this regular. It would be nice, right? Just splitting the sea in itself would be nice, right? You say, man, he split the whole sea? SubhanAllah, that's amazing. Right? Is that amazing to split the sea? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Can any of you split this? Can any of you split a river? Matt, can any of you split a little creek? Right? A little creek running. Can you split a creek? Yes or no? Any of you able to do that? No? So why do we say Allah is more amazing than what we can imagine? It was mentioned that Allah did not just split the river, He split the river into 12 different avs. So that Bani Israel can go from, each tribe can go their own, each part of the Bani Israel can go through one. He didn't just split it one way, He split it 12 different ways. Isn't that much greater? Right? SubhanAllah, Allah split it 12 ways for them to come through. That's amazing. That's like, think of the izmah of Allah subhanahu, the greatness of Allah. Allah does what He wants and how He wants to do it. There is nothing impossible for Allah. Allah split it in 12 ways. Go through Bani Israel. Now, here goes a bigger part of the story. Something that we can take benefit from us. Did Musa, you know the story, right? You know that they crossed the river and they escaped and Allah drowned the army of Fir'aun, right? We know that, right? Why do we know it? Why do we know it? Come on, it's a very easy question. Why do we know it? How do we know it? Huh? Allah told us in the Quran. Allah told us in the Quran that He saved Musa like this, right? But in the Quran, we know from the story of Musa that when Musa was told to flee with the Bani Israel, right? Did Allah tell him how He was going to save him? He just told him to go. Go at nighttime, right? Go. What did Musa do? He left. And he went to Bani Israel and said, come on, let's go. They said, but Pharaoh's army said, no, Allah is with us, let's go. Right? How many times do we in life, right? Allah gives us a command, and we say, yeah, but I go to school, but I go to work, but, like Bani Israel. When Musa's like, shut up. Don't worry about all the buts. Allah said, do it. Allah told me to take you guys at this time, so for sure Allah has the way planned out already. Because again, Musa knew Allah. You see how it changes when you know Allah? Musa knew that Allah is Al-Hakim. He knew Allah is Al-Aziz, right? Allah is all-wise. Allah is the most mighty, and Allah has it already planned out, right? Allah is the one that if He says He's going to do it, He's going to make it happen. He's Al-Muqtadir, the one who's in complete control of everything. Al-Qadir, Al-Qadir. Nothing escapes the ability of Allah. Musa understood this. If Allah said, let's go, why am I looking at Fir'aun? Why do I care about Fir'aun and his army? If Allah told me to go and Allah said He's going to support me, that means that Allah has already decided to help me. Allah has already said to come and go. Grab your people and let's go. There's nothing else to talk about. Allah told you to do a command. If you know Allah, you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and tansurullah yansurukum. That if you know Allah, you know that if you help Allah, Allah is going to help you. Allah will never leave you and abandon you. Right? No matter how difficult the situation might seem, when you know Allah, you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not unjust. He's al-adl. So He's not going to tell you to do something that becomes a dhulm to you. Does that make sense? Allah tell you to, read Quran, learn Quran, wear hijab, wear the do pray, whatever. And you say, but, I don't think Trump will like it if I, wear hijab this way. Right? People are scared of Trump.
I'm not.
MashaAllah, because that's it, MashaAllah. But the reality is, right, if Allah told you to do something, that's permissible. That's not against the law, right? We, Muslims today, have fear of doing things that are legal. right? That's purely legal. You're not going to jail for wearing niqab. Right? Fawaz, have you been arrested yet for wearing niqab?
No.
You sure?
No.
I'm asking. I don't know. Had the police came and said, "Hey, you wearing that thing on your, come here, you're going to jail."
Not that, but some.
You get some other.
Yeah.
It's no problem. Other is different than tort, right? But you're not going to jail, right? Missouri, you go to jail? No? I've never been, so I don't wear niqab. Mashallah. Unfortunately. Alhamdulillah. So, the point is what? Brother, have you went to jail for wearing your thobe? No? You sure? They haven't said, you wearing that dress, come to jail.
Dress.
But how kuffar talk, right? We haven't been to jail for having a beard. We haven't been to jail for wearing our pants above our ankles. Why are we scared? All because of what we think people are going to say to us. Little adha. But Allah told you to do something. Do it. Anybody go to jail for making salah? Anybody go to jail for fasting? Anybody go to jail for giving sadaqah? Why are we afraid of? It's a question. So why are we not doing more of what we are able to do? Because we're afraid of, who's this they? They are going to come get me. Who's they? It's all in your mind. Right? It's all in your mind. Musa had a real tyrant, a real zalim, a real jabbar, a real tyrant coming after him, right? And he still told his people, let's go. Allah said, let's go, let's go. And the people, they were like us. Right? May Allah guide us. But Fir'aun and his army is going to come get us. Right? So Allah said, go, let's go. So when they got to the sea, they said, look, we're caught. Right? That's how the people go, I told you, Musa, we wasn't going to get away. Right? That's how people are, right? So look what's happening. That's how people act, right? As soon as a little bit of adha comes, say, look, I told you, I wore my thobe and somebody laughed at me. Okay, mashallah, they laughed at you. They're going to laugh at you anyway, probably because your feet was this or your eye was that. People are going to laugh anyway, right? They don't like the color of your dress. They don't like the color. People are going to laugh. That's what people do. Right or wrong? Soon as a little bit of harm comes, now it's, look, I told you being Muslim is not going to work. We're too much Muslim. Why we can't just be like those Muslims? Right? Well, I got to grow my beard and look like this. Just because a little bit of harm comes. And people don't realize that when a little bit of harm comes, when the difficulty comes, that means that the success is coming right after. As soon as you get hit with a little bit of trial or tribulation, people give up. I'm not doing it anymore. Not realizing that's when the success comes after. Just like the Muslims did when what? The Treaty of Hudaybiyah, right? They said, they were going to make Umrah, right? And the kuffar stopped them, said, no, you're not coming into Mecca. And the Prophet ﷺ made a treaty with them, said, okay, we'll come back. And the Muslims were mad. Oh, man, we took a loss, not knowing that was the biggest victory for them in reality. Trusting Allah. Trusting the Messenger ﷺ. That's a part of our deen. When we say we believe in Allah, we have to trust Allah. Right? When we say we believe in Allah, we trust His way, His command, His deen. If we don't trust the deen of Allah, then we don't believe in Allah. It's a reality. If you don't trust the deen of Allah, that Allah is not going to tell you or make permission. Let's look at a rule in Islam. In Islam, what does Allah make halal? We need to know this. If you don't know this, we'll help you, inshallah. What does Allah make halal and what does Allah make haram? What is haram? Okay, let's look at haram. What's haram? It's true. Okay, what I mean is this. Allah made haram anything that is either purely bad, there's no good in it, or is mostly bad. There's some things that are haram that are not 100% bad. Is this true? I'll give you an example. Is alcohol 100% bad? Khamr. No. Why? Sometimes people make money off it. Is making money not a good thing? Right? Sometimes, alcohol before used to calm people down. Now, maybe this person wants to kill somebody right now. They take a drink. They calm down. Oh, okay, stuff for the law, right? So Allah said that in alcohol there's some benefit, but it's mostly bad. So Allah made it haram. The bad in it outweighs the good. A lot, by a big proportion, of course. The bad in it outweighs the good. So Allah made it haram. Do we understand that? So whatever Allah makes haram, it's either purely bad or it's predominantly bad. Majority of it is wrong and it outweighs its good. Is that clear? Makes sense? Then, what does Allah make halal? Huh? Allah makes halal whatever is purely good or predominantly good. That there might be some harm in it, but for the most part, it's beneficial. For the most part, it's beneficial, right? Does that make sense? Somebody give me an example of something that is halal, but it has a little bit of harm in it.
Marshmallows?
Marshmallows?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Has gelatin. I don't know, there's some that have.
I can't think of an example right now. But anyway, that's the rule how it goes, right? And then the harm that's in it is different for everybody. Somebody might say, oh, that's harmful for me. But if Allah made it permissible or told you to do it, then you know for sure that predominantly is good for you. Right? Predominantly is good for you. I'll give you an example. Jihad. Right? People lose their lives in jihad, right? People get wounded. That's a great example. There's some harm in jihad, right? But the overwhelming benefit of it for society to fight oppression, to uphold justice, right? To make sure that La ilaha illallah is superior in the land, it's an overwhelming benefit. Overwhelming benefit. Even though people lose their lives, even though there's some harm, right? Overwhelming benefit. Does that make sense? Tell you. So when we know and understand that, we learn the law of Allah, and we realize if Allah told me to do it, or if Allah allowed it, and I don't know always, Allah knows that you don't know. But if Allah allowed it, or made it permissible, or told you to do it, then for sure it's more beneficial than the harm. The benefit in it definitely outweighs the harm. If we understand that, and we trust Allah, and we know that Allah is Al-Hakim and Al-Adl, right? Al-Alim, then we won't have a problem submitting to the laws of Allah. We only have a problem submitting to the laws of Allah when what happens? What happens, Hamdi? Why do we don't submit to the laws of Allah? When we think we know better than Allah. We become taghut to ourselves. You know taghut? Someone that makes laws and is pleased with it, right? Makes laws other than the laws of Allah, or is worshipped other than Allah and is pleased with it. We begin to think that we know better than Allah. But why did Allah say it's halal? Why did Allah make me do this? Why do I have to cover this, right? We think we know better than Allah. How can you, human being, know better than Al-Alim, Al-Khaliq? SubhanAllah, does it even make sense when you really think about it? But we think we know better than Allah. We think that we have a better plan than the plan of Allah. No, I have a plan too. No, I'm going to use my plan. But Allah told you to do it this way, but you said what? I'm going to use my plan. Does that make any sense? That your plan is going to work better than Allah's plan? So Musa brought his people to the ocean. They escaped as far as the ocean. They didn't know what was going to happen after that. Musa didn't even know, but he trusted Allah. And Allah told him to strike the ocean with his staff. And then it split open. Right? And they ran through. And then what happened to Fir'aun? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let Fir'aun come into chasing after him, and the whole ocean swallowed him in his army. So if Allah is going to help you, subhanAllah, if you're going to receive the help of Allah, you don't know how it's going to come. Allah promised the help, doesn't even give us the description of how. We just have to wait for the help. Do you understand? We have to wait for the help of Allah. We have to be worthy also, though, to receive the help of Allah. We have to be doing the work of the people of Allah to receive the help of Allah. We're not doing Allah's work. What makes me think we're going to receive Allah's help? We got all the sins in the world, right? We're not living like a Muslim, talking like a Muslim, dressing like nothing. We're not praying. When we do pray, we just pray real quick. Just right? No khushu'. But then when we go through a difficulty, we say, oh, Allah don't even help me. Oh, Allah, what about me? Well, what was you doing yesterday? You just was at the party. You was dancing to Cardi B. Now you want the help of Allah? Go ask Cardi B to help you. Right? That's who that's who you spend time remembering. You make dhikr of, what's this guy's name? Drake. That's your dhikr. But you want Allah to help you. But your dhikr is of Drake. But you want Allah to help you. But your dhikr is of Zayn. What's this guy's name? Zayn. That guy makes the songs, Muslim songs. Is it a Muslim song? Mahar Zayn. You make dhikr of Mahar Zayn. Oh, Mahar Zayn song, right? It's true. But you want Allah to help you. Doesn't make sense. It's not justice. It's not reality. You're not doing the work of Allah. But, oh Allah, why you not helping? I'm depressed. Yeah, of course you're depressed. You got sins up behind of the world. May Allah forgive us all, right? But it's a difference when a person commits a sin and it just keeps living in sin. You're not even trying to, it's like your house is dirty. You don't even look at it being dirty. It's like, oh, well, I'm making it more dirty. You don't even want to clean up. You got to want to clean up. You don't want to just live in the filth. Cockroaches everywhere, mice running around. You eating the cereal with the mice. Hey, mice, you eating with me today. That's how some of our hearts are in reality. Hearts are filthy. And think that the guidance of Allah is going to come inside of it. وَنُورُ اللَّهِ لَا يُتَاهُ عَاصِي. And the light of Allah doesn't come to the one who's sinful like this. So, we have to be people who are grateful to Allah. And that's something that we should remember on this day of Ashura. All the times that Allah saved us, right? All the times that Allah helped us. And we become grateful. Because if you're grateful to Allah, Allah will give you more. Right? How many times? Let's give an example. Some of you, not most, not all of you, but some of you might have lived in refugee camps before, right? It's not the best way of living, right? But it's living. Maybe it's even better than America if you look back at it now, right? Some of you might say, man, I wish I was back in the refugee camp. Some of you might say this. I've heard people say this when they come to America. But let's say somebody feels like, that they come to America and it's better, like they're healthy, everything is better. Should you not be grateful to Allah for that? And then show your gratefulness by obeying Allah? Instead of coming here and becoming worse, losing your deen. Some people come to America, they were half of the Quran. Now you see them and they say Quran? What's that? I'm not making it up though, am I?
Right.
So people come and get a blessing from Allah, and they turn that blessing into a reason to be punished by Allah. Instead of, and that same thing that the Bani Israel did. Allah saved them. As soon as they got saved, they got across and they started asking about worship and other things. They told Musa, can you make for us a God like those people have a God? Is that not what people do when they come to America? Same thing. They come to America, the first thing they do, they want to celebrate Halloween and Christmas. They say, oh, that seems sort of fun. Maybe people dressing up like evil people walking down the street. Maybe we can do that too, dress our children up like little evil people and let them walk up and down the street. Maybe we can go celebrate Christmas because the people are helping us, tell us to celebrate, so maybe we should do it too. They lose themselves, just like Bani Israel did. We should take remembrance from their story. They come, get saved by Allah from whatever difficulty they might have been in, and instead of trying to worship Allah and thank Allah, they go and try to be like the people who are their enemies. Just because Allah brought you here doesn't mean you have to be them. It's a test for you to be here. Being in America is a test. Trust me, it's a test. Right? SubhanAllah, I remember when I was in Saudi, so every taxi driver that we got in a car with, they say, oh, you're from America, brother. How can I come? You're in the lands of Tawheed. You're in the Muslim lands. So I tell one brother, I said, no, brother, you don't want to come to America. He said, why not, brother? I said, you don't want to come, brother. Why do you want to, what is it? He asked me a question. He said, well, I said, the fitna there is too much fitna, right? So he asked me, what did he say? I can't remember how he got to this point. But he said, I think he said something about he wanted to marry an American woman. That's what he said. I said, why would you want to do that, brother? Why would you want to marry a Kafir woman? I said, are you thinking, brother? He said, well, how was the situation there? Then I said, subhanAllah, I said, the fitna is too much, but why would you want to come there? And then he said, well, I said, there's so much fitna. He said, but don't the police say something if they see, will the police say something to you if they see you walking down the street with a woman? I said, Akhi, the police might encourage you to walk, right? See how the mindset of the Muslims is so work. They're thinking that they're going to come to America and get the Islamic laws in America. He said, brother, so the police are not going to stop you if they see you walking with a woman? I said, Akhi, that's the norm, and that's what you're supposed. American culture, that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? They're not going to act. They're going to hump. How you doing? He said, oh, subhanAllah, I don't want to go to a place like that. Oh, now you don't want to come, and that's without even seeing it, right? It's not the place that you relax when you come to. It's a place that you become stronger and fight harder. Because if you relax, you become like 75% of the rest of the Muslims. How many Muslims do we see here on a daily basis in the masjid? But how many Muslims do we see running around at the parties? Can you imagine sometimes at some of these parties, there's more Muslims than at Jumu'ah? He said, man, all these Muslims are here. Maybe we should do Jumu'ah there. Right? Go give da'wah at a wedding. Muslims there that you never even knew existed. Muslim. Why is that? We come here and get relaxed. Come here and lose. You know how many people I meet, subhanAllah, remember I was in so many people come and say, oh no, I'm half of the Quran. SubhanAllah, you're half of the Quran? You know from Alif La, Alhamdulillah, to Kul A'udhu Bit Nas, and this is how you thank Allah for knowing the whole book of Allah? As the Prophet said, Al-Quran hujjatun lak aw alayk. The Quran will be a proof for you or against you. And some people are comfortable with making the Quran a proof against them. Like it's no problem. I don't know Quran. So what? How is it changing your life? The Prophet ﷺ, right? What did Aisha radiallahu anha say about the Prophet ﷺ? It wasn't so much that he was, half of the Quran, but it was that what khuluqu al-Quran, his mannerism was the Quran. He lived it, right? That's the difference. Us, we might have Quran. And you say, man, what ayat of Quran have you practiced this week? What ayat, not forget the whole thing. What one ayat of Quran did you practice this week? What ayat of Quran can be shown from your actions? Zero. May Allah guide us. So we should take from the remembrance on Ashura, on this day of Ashura, we should take from this day to remember how Allah has saved us and the blessings Allah has given us, right? And how are we reacting to those blessings? What are we doing with the blessings of Allah that Allah has given us? Allah sent this to, subhanAllah, there's a rule in Islam that it's not permissible for the Muslims to just leave the lands of Kuffar unless they're doing something. Some of us are doing nothing, but we're here. Some of us are, every day that we're here is a sin against us. We don't realize that. What are you doing while you're here? What are you doing in these lands of the Kuffar? Because generally, it's not permissible to live in the lands of Kuffar unless it's for a necessity or you're doing something. What are you doing? Some of you are getting da'wah from the Kuffar. Some of you are being called by the Kuffar and you're not calling nobody. Nobody is benefiting from your Islam, you being here. How many of you have benefited somebody by your Islam? Don't answer the question, just ask it. If you're not benefiting somebody by your Islam, then you have no purpose of being here. Your being here might become a sin against you on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Some of us come here and we completely just come right to be with the rest of the people. You can't tell the difference. All we did was add to the numbers of the kuffar. That's all we did. No benefit at all of us being here. We don't act like Muslims, talk like Muslims. You can't distinguish between us and a kafir. May Allah guide us. But on this day of Ashura, inshallah, let us remember every day we should do this, of course. But specifically when we have these different events that come up, it should remind us to think about how Allah has saved us from things and how we are acting in accordance to it. Are we acting like Bani Israel? Ungrateful, want another God to worship besides Allah? Right? worshiping the calf eventually, right? Asking Allah, we want to see you. Imagine that, subhanAllah. Then it's just oh Allah, show us you. After Allah saved them like that. You see how arrogant that can be? Are we like that? How many times Allah has blessed us in our lives and we still don't want to obey Allah? We still fight to cover. I still don't want to wear my hijab all the way properly, but look what Allah has given you. Look at all the blessings Allah has given you. Can you, am I wrong? Think about all the blessings Allah has given you. How can you, me, Khadar, how can I want to fight obeying Allah when Allah has blessed me so much? How can you want to fight obedience to Allah when He's giving you so much? There is no excuse for you or me to not want to obey Allah. To not want to go as far as we can go to obey Allah. Why should we have to be told over and over what to do right? We shouldn't have to. Allah has given us too much. That's fake love. That's fake worship. That Allah has given us so much and we still can't obey Him properly. At least for the things that, the most important things, especially. The things that save us in reality. Right? It saves the man to wear a thobe. It's an honor for him. It saves him from certain fitan. That you see the one who wears a thobe, inshallah, constantly, he's not going to behave like the one who's wearing skinny jeans. It's not going to let him do that. And this is a reminder from Allah. The one who has the kufi on and has a beard, people are not going to let him. They say, hey, brothers, what are you doing? Assalamu alaikum, Muslim brother. Right? He said, man, I'm a Muslim, subhanAllah. Man, I got to get my act together. You know how many times people stop and they say, right before Jumu'ah the other day, a lady, some older white lady, she's driving by and she said, oh, I really like that thing you're wearing. I said, thank you. Right? No problem. Cool. Same thing for the ladies. Wearing proper hijab saves you. Imagine, I know you guys here. You guys go to school, you walk back home from school. You hear how the boys and men talk to the other girls, right? The things they say to them. Hey, you, You want to be talked to like that? Even still, they probably say things to you sometimes, right? Maybe you got to put on more. Put on more clothes. Right? The purpose of the hijab anyway is to make sure that you don't get bothered. Maybe if you have on more, they'll say less. The more you have on, the less they'll say. It saves you. Gives you honor and izzah. Right? Adds to your iffah. So, we have to not be afraid to be Muslim. We shouldn't be afraid to pray. School is coming back up, right? We should be making intention that we pray in school. Don't wait to come home because we're afraid people see us praying in school. Right? I mean, people pray Dhuhr and Asr at home because they didn't want people, not because they got busy at school and they forgot or they couldn't get away from class, it was a test, just because they don't want their friends to see them praying. Is this true? This is an issue in the heart that I don't want my friends to see me have to go and pray, so I'll wait till I get home. Number one, if you have those type of friends, you shouldn't have them. Friends that you have to be afraid to pray in front of, obviously they're not a Muslim then. And if they're not a Muslim, they should not be your friend. So let's make that encouragement. Start with the things that are important. That when I go to school this year, number one, I'm going to pray my salat in school. I'm going to take a break, ask for permission, whatever. And I think even in the schools now they have places you can go pray. And I'm going to go pray. For the boys, maybe you should start, instead of trying to go shopping for school clothes to get Hollister and all this stupid stuff, right? Maybe go get some nice kameez. Right? Wear a nice thobe to school. Show your Islam. Don't be afraid to be a Muslim. Right? They don't let, that's not true. That's not true. Not true at all. Some schools don't let you wear kameez? Not true. Huh?
They do.
No, they don't. They cannot stop you from wearing kameez to school.
Before.
What school? Unless it's a uniform school. Are you talking about a uniform school or a city school?
No, like if you wear religion clothes.
No, it's impossible. They cannot stop you. Impossible. What'd you say? I know they can't. I know for sure they can't stop you. Unless it's a uniform school. That's different. But even if it's a uniform school, For sure, they will allow you if you explain to them or we explain to them that this is your religion. Right? For sure. They cannot, by United States law, no one can stop you from practicing your religion. That's the law. Whether they do it or not, that's the law. That you have the right to religious expression. We just don't utilize our rights. So no school can stop you from wearing a qameez. It doesn't mean you wear a long one. You don't have to wear a long one. Wear a short one that has a size so that you can do what you have to do in school. Right? But show that you're Muslim. If that's the case, they won't allow the women to wear hijab. Do they stop the women from wearing hijab? No. So if they don't stop the women from wearing hijab, what makes you think they're going to stop you from wearing qameez? They can't. It's the same thing. Same principle. We just don't utilize it out of fear. Reality is we're afraid of what people are going to say about us. Then we say to the girls, don't be a part-time hijabi. Right? Don't wear it halfway and, I do have a hijab on, but I have a tight skirt on. Right? That doesn't count. Or I have hijab on, but, it comes up to my calves and my whole ankle and foot is all out and everything, right? Or I have hijab, and you know how people wear the hijab, the girl wear the hijab, comes to here. Not acceptable.
Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله
أشهد أن محمد رسول الله
حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله
حي على الصلاة
لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله
حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
لا إله إلا الله رب هذه الدعوة So now, inshallah ta'ala. So remember, let's try, be better this year. Right? You go to school. Why do you wear certain hijabs to the masjid? Why do you wear certain clothes to the masjid? Esma, why do you wear certain clothes to the masjid? Question. Because you know it's the right clothes to wear, right? That makes sense? No? It does, right? Honestly speaking. Sometimes we lie to ourselves, but honestly, we know the clothes we wear to the masjid. When we pick our clothes to wear to the masjid, we know that this is the clothes that's going to get me not yelled at. Right? Is that right or wrong? That if I wear this, I won't get yelled at today. Shouldn't that be our everyday clothing? Because if maybe your teacher yells at you, wouldn't it mean that whatever you're wearing, Allah is angry with seeing? Yes or no? Because, of course, we're not going to yell at you for doing the right thing. If we yell at you, it's because, obviously, you have on something improper. Correct? And if it's improper, we're yelling at you because what? We don't want you to get punished by Allah for what you're doing. It's one of the easiest things to get punished for. Why is that? Allah says in the Quran, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. What does Allah say? Don't come close to zina. That means leave off all the muqaddimat of zina, all the things that lead to zina. One of the easiest things that leads to zina is people dressing improperly. Because it leads to people staring at each other, right? It leads to showing what you should not be showing of yourself, right? That's one of the things that lead to zina. Do we understand that? What did I just say to them? Because you were talking, right? What I said was dressing improperly are one of the things that lead to zina. And Allah told us don't come close to zina. He didn't say don't do it. He said don't come close. Don't do the things that lead to it. And one of the things that lead to zina, we know this to be true. It's not something I'm making up. One of the things that we know for sure that leads to zina more than anything is a woman or man dressing improperly. Either one of them. A woman or man dressing improperly. It leads to people saying things to each other about things. Oh, look at it shows your body in a way that your body should not be seen. It takes away from your honor that you show your body off like this. You become like the rest of the worst of the women. You lose respect for yourself. Who will respect you if you don't respect yourself? I'm a Muslim, but here, you can see this part of me. No. I'm a Muslim, but I want to show you just this, at least, so you can know something. No. I'm a Muslim. That's it. And I'm not showing you nothing. Right? Don't play with yourself. A lot of times you girls, you play yourselves. And you think that what you're doing is okay or it's cute, but in reality it's leading to Allah. It's leading to your destruction. It can lead to your destruction. May Allah guide us and make this serious. Like, we talk about it a lot because it's a huge problem. Alhamdulillah, you girls are some of the best that there are, alhamdulillah. But we can all be better, right? Can't we? Have any of us reached the level where we don't need any more work? We can always be better, right? So let's try to be better, inshallah, all of us. Tell you, this time right now between the adhan and iqamah is a beautiful time for adhan, for dua. Use this time to make your sunnah and use this time to make dua to Allah. Don't talk. Try not to talk, right? Use this time between adhan and iqamah. It's time for dua. Okay? So we're going to stop now. After we pray Dhuhr, the first thing we will do is we'll do what? Read our Ashr. Everyone has to read their Ashr, right?
Are we going to have class upstairs?
Yes, we will. But the first thing we'll do is read our Ashr. Does that make sense? No? Yes. After we pray Dhuhr, the first thing we'll do is read our Ashr. Does that make sense? We talked about this already. Nothing else to discuss, right? Tell you. So utilize this time between adhan and iqam. I think there's another few minutes. I don't know how much time it is. Make a lot of dua, especially for me. Okay? Jazakumullah khair. هذا صلاة سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك.